We're going to be covering a lot of Q&A as always today, but I also, Josh, I'm really glad you're on here, man, because man, I was bragging on you yesterday. I bragged on you again today in a separate Facebook Live, and I'd love for you to kind of share that copy that you have again, if you're cool with it. For those of you guys who weren't on last week, Pastor Josh actually has, I would say, probably the best copy that I've seen for re-entry so far. He nailed the copy. Put emojis in there to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, and it's been really, really interesting. And in fact, I was doing a Facebook Live interview with Ryan Wakefield yesterday in his church marketers group, and I shared that or whatever, and gave Josh some props, and then shared it again inside of a CMU Facebook Live today. So I'd love to start with that because Josh, I told you this before. I can't say it enough. You crushed it. Like it's perfect. And I'm a sucker for great messaging and great communication. I think that's one of the reasons like the Facebook ministry ads kind of resonate with people and stuff like that. It's why having those conversations in there, the ministry conversations, ministry first, is such a big deal. And when you can communicate to people on a level that just makes it so human, and both what Josh said is he kind of nailed the line between taking this seriously and also kind of keeping things lighthearted, right? And so the hard part is whenever you say, like, hey, we're taking this seriously, then people kind of start to guess, like, are you taking it seriously? Why didn't you tell me? It's like when people's like, hey, bro, you can trust me. It's like, I kind of automatically thought that I could trust you, but now that you're saying that, it makes me think if I really can, right? So you have to be careful in kind of that communication, especially when it's going out to lots of different people and different demographics, and with something as crazy as all the COVID-19 stuff. So, man, Josh, do you have that? You want to just pull that up and read that? Here it is. Well, Josh, I'll let you do the honors, man. I think I read it last week, but
is my audio good?
Talk again.
Is the audio okay?
Actually, it's kind of messed up. There's some fuzziness. I'm not sure. Well, and no big deal. If you can't fix the audio, no big deal. I can read it here. It's in the chat for all of you guys who are watching.
That's any better? I'm sorry. Is that better or is it worse?
A little bit worse, I think, unfortunately.
Okay, I can't fix it. I'm using my laptop. I have to grab my iPad if I was going to fix it.
Okay, no sweat. I'll read it, man. But so here's what it says again. You guys can see this inside the chat, but he used emojis for everything that he said. And that, again, that's one of the things that I think nailed the language, but then the tone, it just kind of helps it be really helpful. So what he said was, hey, looking forward to seeing many of you tomorrow. Here are a few things to know before this upcoming Sunday. And so Josh, this was the very first Sunday that you guys were meeting back again, right? Okay, and you posted this on your Facebook page, correct? Okay, perfect. So this was on his church Facebook page, the very right before the very first Sunday that they were coming back, having their in-person services again. So looking forward to seeing many of you tomorrow. Here are a few things to know before this upcoming Sunday. Number one, if you're not ready to come, it's okay, with the A-OK emoji, right? If you've been sick recently or currently, please stay home and enjoy our online service. Use the emoji of the smiley face with the thermometer in there. Number three, if you fall into a high-risk group based on age or medical condition, we also encourage you to enjoy our online services. Your safety is a priority. Number four, we are recommending masks, but it's not required. And then you use the emoji with a mask on. It's great. Number five, we have optional kids classes set for 4 years old to 5th grade. Please use the outside door as drop-off. Classroom size will not exceed 10, and then has two emojis of a boy and a girl, little kids. Number six, we will have an usher take you to designated seating to allow social distancing with a little like waving emoji. Number seven, we've set up extra hand sanitization. I always say this word wrong. Hand sanitation? Yeah, all right. We have set up extra hand sanitation area, and restrooms will be cleaned regularly. And then there's a little picture of a private eye and a bathroom toilet. So like they're inspecting the toilet, which is awesome. Number eight, we love you and ask for your patience and understanding as this is new to us as well. 2 heart emojis, Pastor Josh. So man, I love this because again, I think we shared this a little bit last week. I wanted to hit it again because I know that not everybody was on last week. I got a lot of messages from people say, hey, do you have the replay because we couldn't make it? So I wanted to cover this first thing. Is one of the best things is, so obviously like the language was perfect. It was concise. It was to the point. He communicated what he needed to, treating it seriously, but also using the emojis just to kind of keep it lighthearted. So that's because it's such a weird time and kind of a weird thing to be able to communicate about. We've never had to figure out a virus and these types of things before. But I love like at the end, he says, we love you and ask for your patience and understanding as this is new to us as well. Right. I think that's one of the biggest things to understand is communicating that to your people, whether they decide to come back to church right away or not. I think it's huge because people like just being a little bit vulnerable with people, right? Hey man, we're just asking for your patience and understandings. Man, this is new to us as well, right? We're trying to figure this thing out just like you guys are. And so one of the lines that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks is, man, when the time is right, the doors are open. Right? We want to invite people back to church, but also let them know it's okay if you don't want to come back right away. It's okay if you kind of want to wait a few weeks or a few months and just attend online and kind of let the dust settle and see how everything goes. We totally understand that. No judgment, but when the time is right, the doors are open. Okay, so that's some messaging stuff. Again, Josh, thank you, man. That's awesome, bro. You guys are crushing it. Let's kind of open it up for questions because I know a lot of churches have either just started opening up the last couple of weeks, and so some people have been switching over in their ministry ads back to in person. We've had some questions about that, some questions about do we do kind of a hybrid and do both, and then some people that are still only meeting online and are maybe even a couple of weeks or even a couple of months out from having in-person services. So let's open it up. Do we have any questions to start this thing off here? Nope. Okay. So if you guys have questions, feel free to interrupt me. I will.
Questions, but I think they're better maybe one-on-one for like Caleb afterwards or something like that. I don't think the whole group needs to hear the questions.
Yeah. We can stick around afterwards to talk.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask something.
Yeah. What's up, Sean?
Hey, how you doing? So regarding, I've asked this before, but I'm just kind of looking, we got more people here, I guess, or different input on, like we've been meeting for about 4 weeks now. And we stopped our broadcast for a while because we got flagged with Facebook for spam or whatever. We're going to do our first broadcast this Sunday, but I'm debating between like inviting people online and then maybe putting something at the bottom to say, hey, if you are ready to come out or the doors are open at 8:30 and 10:30 this week, and otherwise the 10:30 online service is available. But I just kind of would like to gauge that on you guys, anybody on the call who wants to pitch in. What are your thoughts on that?
So if there's anyone else, like I said, you guys feel free to interrupt me and jump in. I have my thoughts, Sean. So something I would consider doing if this is the first time you've reached out in a little while is I wonder. I've been reading a lot about like the law of reciprocity lately, right? And so just kind of the brand science behind that. I think, and that was one of the reasons we crafted the prayer ads the way that we did, right? It's because we're giving first and then asking back. So if you're engaging and sending a broadcast out to everybody on your messenger list, maybe what I would do is I would actually maybe start with a question where you're like kind of giving value. Like you could just kind of go back to the whole prayer thing, right? Because some of these people, it's probably been weeks or even months since they've interacted with you. And you could just say, hey, Pastor Sean here. Listen, I just wanted to reach out. I know things are a little bit crazy right now, and with businesses are starting to reopen, churches starting to reopen. But man, I just want to check in on you. How are you and your family doing? Right, and kind of start that. Start with something like that, and maybe you use a broadcast just to kind of re-engage people. It might cut down on the fact that you get some spam back. And then for anyone that starts a conversation with you, now you're just having a conversation, so you can invite them to church at the end of that conversation without fear of Facebook saying, hey, you're trying to spam people and invite them out to church. Maybe just thought, or even just like, hey, you submitted a prayer request a while back. I just want to follow up with you. How's it going? Right? Or hey, how can I pray for you and your family this week? Right? Maybe just like, hey, I know we haven't talked, because people aren't going to know that that's a broadcast because it just pops up as if it's a one-on-one. So you could literally just say like, hey, hey, what's up? Haven't talked in a while. how can I pray for you and your family this week? Right. And then kind of do that. And anyone who engages with you and responds, then you can just be like, okay, great. Listen, me and my team, we're going to be praying for you. In fact, we're having church this Sunday. Man, if you feel comfortable, would you like to come out so we can pray for you in person? Right. And just kind of echoing and doing like kind of a manual version of what those, what the Facebook prayer ads and the chat bots normally do. I wonder if something like that would be more effective than just like a giant broadcast and invite out to church. Something to think about.
I think that's a great idea. It's funny. I had a guy call me today who I've not connected with. We connected on the Facebook ad, but we've not talked in like 3 or 4 weeks. But suddenly today he called. He's in the hospital today. You know what I mean? It's like, but so he re-engaged me. But I love that idea because there's a few people who came to our online stuff pretty consistently in the beginning. But as soon as I stopped the broadcast, they stopped showing up. So I love that idea of re-engaging without asking something from them, but just asking how I can invest in them. So I appreciate that. That's great advice, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would probably add to that. I mean, just echo his statement. You always want to add value first. Add value first. Anything that you can do to add value to people, you want to, because people will see your heart. I love you for you. And then obviously, naturally, it kind of just says, hey, listen, if I add value to you, you can extend an invitation. If you do a prayer to, I don't know how many subscribers you have, and you ask them if they need prayer and they already had prayed for before, you had better get a team to handle all the prayer requests that you're about to have. Okay. Because you are going to have probably hundreds of prayer requests and you can't get to them all. And then your word is on the line to pray for them. So if you were going to do another prayer request broadcast, I would just you might want to think through how you're going to answer all of those, because you're going to want to answer all of them. That's all I was just going to say.
Yeah, I've got 385 in my audience. I just checked. So
yeah, and you'll have about a 93% open rate, which means you could have a couple hundred responses easily. So I think that's cool, and I love that idea, Sean. And Aaron, you're right. I mean, that's like just giving value first. That the whole idea of ministry first. I also think, Sean, something to. Gosh darn it, I just had it and now it just escaped me. I literally thought, oh, I'll tell Sean this as soon as, and now I forget it. So it'll probably come back to me here in a second. But yeah, I would use a broadcast that way and kind of ask at that. And I think that's going to be really helpful. And then you can literally just invite them out to church one-on-one as you're having that. And Aaron's idea of having a team, that's huge. I know. I remember what it was. Is you mentioned that. Some of those people who are coming consistently, but you stopped doing the broadcast, right? And so they weren't showing up. One of the things that I would look at doing is, are you guys currently using Text in Church right now?
no, we're not. No.
Okay, so Caleb, can you see if you can find that Text in Church link? So I worked out a deal with Tyler Smith, who runs Text in Church. So for all of our church partners that we work with in the Facebook Ministry Ads program, he gave me a link where you can get 3 months of Text in Church for free. So you can actually sign up, try it for 3 months. If you don't like it, you can quit. But what, Caleb's going to throw that link in the chat when he finds it. But what I would do is I would take a look. So if you're literally seeing hey, all we need to do is remind people, which is human nature, right? Like when we remind people, they're showing up, but if we forget to, we can't. Because ManyChat is being kind of weird about that whole thing, right? Because they flagged your account. What I would do is you could send a broadcast, maybe not this week, maybe go the route we just talked about, but maybe next week, send a broadcast of hey, man, if you want us to send you a text notification whenever the church goes live on Sunday morning, click here to sign up for text notifications, right? So if you've got, 385, 400 people that are on there, right? You may have 20, 30, 40, 50 people, maybe 100, who knows? But for the people that want it, you could literally just send it straight to a page on your website with a Text in Church group. You can do that with a Smart Connect card, where literally all they have to do is pop in their name and phone number and have it set up so that it literally just automatically shoots that out on Sundays. That's actually what we built out inside of ManyChat. And again, some accounts was working, some accounts were getting flagged. ManyChat and Facebook were being weird. So, but you can do that through Text in Church. And it's not that hard to set something like that up. And then now you could literally just continue to build that text notifications. It's something you could say to your church too. Hey, if you're ever not here or you want to sign up for online church notifications, just go to this page and we'll shoot you a text message every Sunday morning when we go live. So something that might be helpful. Okay, perfect. Caleb just put that in there. So in the chat, you guys can see that. That's discounts just for you guys. And Tyler even told me, he goes, man, I've never given away a 90-day free trial, but we were at Mexican lunch one day eating queso, and I said, hey, what if you give 3 months free to all the churches we work with? And he said yes. So, all right, let's see. Do we have any other questions? Facebook ministry ads, re-entry, anything like that? Nobody? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll share this piece, and then if you have a question after this, we'll do questions one more time. If not, man, we can call it a day. But here's something we've been getting quite a bit of emails about, and quite a few pastors reaching out. When it comes to the Facebook ministry ads, a lot of people are saying, okay, now that our church is either about to start meeting again or just started meeting again, or we at least have a date in the future when we know we're going to start meeting in person again. What should we do on the ministry ads? Should we switch back to in-person plan your visits? Should we do kind of a hybrid of in-person and online plan your visits? Should we just, should we stick with online because that's been working? I think every single situation is a little bit different, but my overall recommendation would be going back to the plan your visit just the way it was when we first worked. We've seen over the last 12 months. Right? I think we've done this for about 350 churches in the last 12 months. One of the things that we've seen is really effective. Is typically reaching out and actually just inviting people out to that in-person service, right? Before COVID-19, that strategy was working really, really well, as long as you're sending the audio prayers to every single person that comes in, as long as you're calling your plan your visits within 15 minutes, right? You do those two things. It's not set it and forget it. It's some work on your part. But for the churches that do those two things, they send the audio prayers to every single prayer, and they call the plan your visits within 15 minutes. Most of the time, those churches were seeing about 10% of the people who submit a prayer request were then planning a visit online. And then again, obviously, the amount of people that show up was based on whether or not they made a personal connection and they were calling the planner visits within 15 minutes. So knowing that works so well, we're starting to see that for churches that are switching back over to that. It's been working really well because there's some people that are scared to go back to church. There's also some people who have been like dying to get back into church and back into community and just can't wait for the church to open up. So for those people, I think it's definitely worth going back to that. And then what we'll do, if you let us know, when we kind of reconnect that, and please just be patient with us on that because we've got a lot of churches that we're switching back over to that. But we'll so try to give us as much heads up as possible. We just got an email from church a couple of days ago saying, hey, we're going back at the end of this month. I'm like, okay, thank you for giving us a couple of weeks. But we're going in, and what we're doing is if they say no to the plan your visit, so after they submit the prayer request and they go through plan your visit and they say no, what we do is in the, and they say, hey, we're having church this Sunday at 10 a.m. Would you like to come out so that we can pray for you in person? And they say, no, thanks. Then we actually put that in that message where we say, okay, great, no problem. Well, if you're interested, we'll be live streaming the service this Sunday. Here's the link, right? And so now we're still delivering the link to people that you've connected with, people that didn't necessarily want to plan a visit for whatever reason. So we're still sending that out, but we're also not trying to give them two options and two calls to action in there. It's literally just, hey, do you want to come out in person? Oh, no, thanks. Okay, great. Well, we're also live streaming it. Here's the link if you want to check that out. So that's kind of our recommendation right now for that if you are meeting back in person. So, all right, let's open it up one more time for questions. If we have them, now is the time to answer. And if not, Caleb will pray to the Lord in Jesus' name, and we'll get out of here. So do we have any more questions? Josh has a question.
Josh?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I saw on my mini chat the let's see, Discover Your Purpose, Bible Challenge, Parenting Challenge, and Marriage Challenge has all been loaded. When and how are we laying those out, or is there additional training for those?
Yeah. So we're actually about to send an email out about that. So basically what what we did is we have those in there. So that's like for some churches just did the prayer ads, and then some churches did like a year's worth of ads, right? So for those churches that have a year's worth of ads, what we did is we basically went in there and said, okay, you've been running the prayer ads. We had some churches that had moved on to phase 2, which is discover your purpose. For most of them, we went back to the prayer ads once COVID-19 hit, right? So it's like, hey, listen, the world's in crisis right now. Everybody's going through a storm. We recommend going with the prayer ads and promoting the live stream that way. Now that churches are starting to open back up, what we recommend is those. And so we'll send you an email that gives you a video overview of how to turn those on when you're ready. It's totally up to you. It's literally just hitting a button and flips them on. All of those are designed to direct them to your in-person services. So we don't recommend running those until you're running in-person services. But basically what it goes is you run the prayer ads. Typically we recommend running the prayer ads for at least 90 to 120 days to start, right? So like it normally takes 3 or 4 months to really get the flywheel going with those prayer ads. But once you've been doing that, then you can go on to discover your purpose, which we kind of talked about this before, but it's basically the prayer ads. If you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like the triangle of needs, is those first 3 levels of like, safety needs and your basic human needs. That's who the prayer ads meet, people that have those basic types of needs. Discover your purpose, phase 2, when you switch over, is actually specifically designed to reach the top 2 levels, people that their basic needs are met. They usually have a little bit of a higher leadership ceiling. They're in a different season of life. Now they've switched over to impact, and they're trying to figure out, man, what's the purpose of my life? What was I designed for? Why am I here? And so they're kind of going on a little bit more of a spiritual journey, a little bit more. They're trying to discover their purpose. So we created that Discover Your Purpose quiz. And we found that brings in a ton of people. Aaron Butler can tell you about that. He's been running that at his church for a while. Jamie Newstead, who's not on here right now, had his church go from like 100 to 150, I think, in 2 or 3 months running Discover Your Purpose when he switched over. So because it reaches a different demographic of people, right? And then you go from Discover Your Purpose to the Marriage Challenge, and then to a Parenting Challenge, and then we have an entrepreneur and business owner prayer ad specifically that's going to target them, and then finally a Bible challenge. So literally your entire year's worth laid out, and it's all built out into the account. And then just keep an eye on your inbox. We'll send you out an email. I think that should be going out tomorrow morning that you'll get, that'll actually walk you through an overview of how that works and how to activate those in your account, because they're already in there. The ads are built and everything. All you have to do is just turn the ads on whenever you're ready.
So is this part of that 6-month package type thing that we invested in?
Yes, except for you, we decided to automatically upgrade you to 1 year.
Okay.
So that's why you're seeing all of that. So
Okay.
just appreciate all that you've done. Appreciate you then all your innovation. Like I know I bragged on you a bunch with that copy and everything. So
but for all you guys, it's been a hard year. I think especially COVID hit. It changed everything for us as a team. We actually, for everybody that we were building out for, designing this year-long package for, we had to shift and go back and modify each individual church. And there'd been 400 signed up in like the last few months. So I mean, it was a lot of work, and you guys had a lot of patience with us, which we appreciate, because we did our best, to dive in and fix all the things and go back to a live stream invite and make that cater to. And so, yeah, it's just, I know that we're all doing the best we can, and you guys, the world needs us. The world needs us as a church to be maximally effective in impact. And so, yeah, we hope that these upgrades that we've given to you guys are that you guys use them and help reach as many people as we can.
Yeah, so for anyone else on here, if you guys are part of it, if you purchase the 6-month package, right? That's what we did. We every single person that got 6 months, we just automatically upgraded you to the 12-month package for free. And so if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, you can always give me or Caleb a shout, and we can talk to you or whatever. But for those of you guys like you, Josh, who know that's what we did. So that email will actually have a video overview as well that'll kind of show you again how to run that play over the next couple of months, just so you're not always waiting on us, right? I know we're trying to get better at customer service. Caleb and I've been meeting. We're literally working on some stuff till 2 a.m. the other night. And then I dropped him off, and I think he worked till 4:30 a.m. And that's one of the biggest things we've been working on is trying to figure out how to get better at that. But knowing that sometimes our response time takes a little bit longer, that's why we're creating a little tutorial video. So you're not like, hey, I asked you guys to turn on phase 2 or phase 3, a week ago. Literally, here's a tutorial video to show you exactly how to do that. All right, let's see. Do we have any other questions here, y'all?
Oh, Aaron said if you want to talk about the hacks for Discover Your Purpose, let him know.
Oh,
He-
yes.
That you can take advantage of that. If you guys should take advantage of that.
Yes. Aaron is brilliant, and Aaron is running the system and has been running it for a while. And so
I actually brought him
time we-
on to help coach somebody else. Like I was like, oh, hey, I have a coaching call. I'm going to call Aaron and ask him what he.
Yeah, he's brilliant. So, okay. Any more questions before we pray and get out of here? Nope. Everybody good?
Josh wants Aaron's email.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, Aaron, if you can send that to Josh. And then let's do this. Bogdan, I see you on here. Bogdan, I'm gonna so afterwards, Caleb, can you stay on and talk to Josh? Bogdan and I are supposed to meet at 1 o'clock here. So Josh, Caleb can answer any questions you have.
Do you want me to stay on? Do you want me to stay on, Chris, or what do you want me to do?
No, I'll send you. I'll put a link. You and I are gonna hop into a different Zoom room. I'll put a link in the chat.
Awesome. Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
See you then. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So Caleb, let's have, if we don't have any more questions, let's have you pray. And then you and Josh can stay on here and talk. Everybody else, we'll see you guys next week here. So any more questions? Last call. Everybody good? Okay, Caleb, will you pray for us, bro?
Yeah, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this group of leaders in your church. Lord, I pray that you would just help us during this time as we're trying to figure out sort of all the new things that are coming our way that we didn't anticipate before. Lord, help us to lean into you in times of stress. I pray for protection on our families and on our staff. And Lord, pray for you be glorified in all the things we do. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thanks, guys. We appreciate y'all. Keep going.